You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Thanks for joining us. If you're here for Kevin Durand, you came to the right place. I hope you don't fast forward through all this because there's just a couple of things like my dog's barking that we should probably talk about. Ryan's here. Ryan, good to see you.
Hi, good to see you too.
Yes, a pleasure, a sheer pleasure.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you for listening. And if you do like this podcast, you're here for Kevin Durand, and you actually like the podcast, all I ask you to do is listen. Subscribe, write a review, help us out. And if you really want to support us and give back and keep this podcast going, because it's up to the patrons, my patrons, if you go to Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/insideof you could join, and there's tiers, and I give you packages and you get your name shouted out, and there's a lot of perks, and hopefully you will join Patreon and support the podcast. Picture it like a streamer. You know, people pay for streamers, but you're getting all this quality recordings and interviews. So if you want to give back, that certainly helps us a lot. We got a lot of people like Ryan and Jason, my editor, and Bryce, the producer, and we got to pay for all this stuff. So patreon.com/Inside. If you want to go to my Instagram at the Michael Rosenbaum, there's all the cons that are coming up. Sorry, I missed New Orleans. I was evacuating. But I'll be in Orlando. I'll be in Orlando at MegaCon. So come to MegaCon. Tom's going to be there. We're doing a Smallville Nights. Get tickets now. MegaCon, February 6th weekend. Cruiseville. You got to go to Cruiseville. It's a cruise with me and Tom and some of the cast members. That's going to be fun. I've never been on a cruise before.
Really?
Never.
Nor I.
Ooh. Maybe you'll come on the cruise. We got to figure that out. We got to see if we can get Ryan.
I'll just come to Chicago.
Yeah, there's also the Chicago con in September.
We'll see.
But a lot of cons. I'm on the Cameo, and check out Sunspin. Go to sunspin.com, listen to the music, listen to the album on Spotify. We're working on our next album now, which we're recording in a couple of weeks. Very nervous and excited about that. A lot of cool songs, one of which, why not? Anyway, that's a little taste, but we're working on some fun stuff and different stuff, working with synths and 80s feel and beach housey and all that. So I'm excited. And then if you want to go to the Inside of You online store, we got new freaking tumblers coming out. They're awesome. These are so different than anything I've ever done. So check out the tumblers and, and other great merch, Lex Smith scripts autographed and Smallville lunchboxes and ship keys and pictures and all that stuff. You can get all that at the Inside of You online store. And there's a lot of cool stuff there. So, and last but not least, Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath. Grab some on Amazon. If your dog's breath smells like shit, you put a cap full in the dog's water. That's it. It's tasteless and odorless. So grab some Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath. People are liking it. So I like that. And The Talented Farter is on Amazon, the book. So it's still available. My sound book, it's a fart book. Let's get into this guy. You've seen him in everything. I mean, honestly, he's one of those guys. It's like me if you saw me on the street, you go, is that I think I recognize him. He's one of those guys. He's so striking. But he's been in a lot of big movies. I remember him from Lost. But he's really great. And he's such a beautiful, beautiful human being. I love talking to him. He was a lot of fun and very down to earth. I think you're going to really relate to him. Let's get inside of Kevin Durand.
It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience.
You love dogs. I love that you love dogs so much that you came in and you immediately sat on the stairs and played with my dogs.
Oh,
that
dude.
tells me a lot about a person.
Dude, I'd still be out there.
You
if
would.
We didn't. I would have laid down, and eventually I would have won Blanche.
Blanche
I would have
over.
won Blanche over. I understand.
It takes a minute.
Yeah.
She's usually pretty good, but with people that are really tall.
Oh, dude.
So she sometimes is like, oh my gosh, protective over Charlie.
My energy's really big too, so it takes a while for sometimes
to open up,
to adapt.
I had a guy and he was a professor in college. I took it was the introduction to sound or whatever. I don't remember what it was called. Radio. And he get Mr. Dr. Wazlowski. And the first thing he says is, he's quiet. Everybody's staring at him. He goes, "What is sound?" And we all just look and I go, "This is going to be an F. I'm going to get an F in this one." And he goes, "Sound is vibrating air."
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
You have a resonant voice.
It worked.
Dr. Wazlowski. It got me into doing like DJing and stuff like that. I was like a DJ, like 91.7, New Rock's only alternative.
Perfect.
Hey, I'm here from 10 to 2. Nobody's listening. But listen, if you are, I got a 6-inch Subway sandwich I just bought, and it's yours if you're the third caller. Nobody called. My roommate Jerry would call. I'm like, "Jerry, come on." But it was fun. It was fun. Did you always know you were going to do this, be an actor?
I really wanted to be a hockey player.
Well, you have the side. Did you play?
Yeah, I played. I played until I was 14. It was pretty bad. I was being sat by coaches on the bench. I'd ride the pines if I wouldn't go out and hurt a kid since I was about 7 years old. It happened so many times.
Because you were always big for your age.
Yeah. But I had pretty good hands. I was a goal scorer.
Yeah.
But because I was a fucking giant, they would be like, "Okay, you have most goals on the team, but you need to go take that kid out." I'd be 7 years old and I'd refuse. And so like when I was 14,
Jesus.
after like, years and years of this, because I started playing at 3, the coach was benched me the first 2 periods, like 3 minutes left in the second period. He goes, "Okay, go on." And I go on and I don't go after the guy, but the guy puts me headfirst in the boards and I go black. And I wake up 10 minutes later, nothing's moving. I have no control over my extremities. And I'm like, "Oh, well, fucking done. 14 years old, I'm done." And then slowly.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Just terrifying.
Yeah, it was.
One of the biggest fears.
Yeah, one of the scariest things ever. And then bit by bit,
slowly it came back.
Extremities started to tingle. Got it back. And then this fucking thing that they had been trying to turn me into, all of a sudden I just kind of got up and I was like, "You got to put me in the third." And he's like, "No, you took a pretty bad spell." I was like, "Fucking put me in." And I went after that kid and I put that kid in the hospital. And at that age, I thought I had killed him. I didn't really understand. And that was the last time I played.
Because you felt so bad?
It's just not in. Look, we all have, as you know, everything lives within us, and if you choose to unearth things and open up the filter and just kind of go, "Okay, well, I'm going to go there," and we do that for our job, right?
Right.
I decided that I didn't want to do that anymore in my life.
Yeah. At such a young age, you kind of like introspectively knew that something wasn't quite right. And I think that tells a lot about you, because I remember being a young kid, and you grew up in Canada, much nicer country. No, I love the US. But I mean, Canada's like the nicest people on the planet. We can get into that. But
not bad. We're not bad.
No, I used to hang out with some folks, some kids, and they were getting into bad news. They were starting to sniff gas and this is like, we're 12 years old, sniff gas, and doing some things, stealing like a neighbor's car when they're out of town and driving it around. And I remember one day, I don't remember exactly. I just remember something dawned on me, and they were all messing around and drinking, and I just slowly turned around, and we used to cut through the yards, people's yards, neighborhoods. You just go out until 10 p.m. and do whatever you want. It was safe. And I jumped over one fence and went in New Yard, jumped over the other fence to a street, and then I walked home, and I never looked back. And I said, I knew something in me said, "You can't hang out with this crowd." Yeah. My parents didn't say, I don't want you doing that. They didn't know anything. I knew that this was going to be a bad idea to continue hanging out with these people. Yeah. And funny enough, my mom the only person she ever let spend the night at my house, because she loved this kid's family, she let this one kid spend the night. And I never got a chance to have friends spend the night, but she goes, he could spend the night. And I was like, okay. Fast forward about 5 years, he's in prison for life for killing a man.
Yeah.
That one friend I was allowed to have spend the night.
Yeah.
But I think my point is, like, you know, I don't know if serial killers, I don't know if people who end up murdering people have that ability to say, hey, I'm not going to, this is not right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it.
Yeah, I don't know. It was such a part of the culture of it, you know. And then all these years later, you know, I couldn't talk about hockey. I couldn't watch it. I couldn't listen to it. I just completely disengaged. And then when I was 23, you know, I was a theater actor in Toronto, and I had been there for a while, and there was an audition for a hockey movie, and
Miracle,
Mystery Alaska,
right?
Yeah, and I went. I did 4 auditions, and then they were like, "Okay, well, the final audition is on the ice. Can you play hockey?" And I was like, "Well, I'm from Thunder Bay." And they were like, "Yeah, but can you play hockey?" I was like, "Oh yeah, you guys are from LA. Thunder Bay. If you come from Thunder Bay, everybody plays hockey in Thunder Bay." You know what I mean?
But you hadn't played for a long time.
I hadn't. So I went to Play It Again Sports, you know, spent like $60, got equipment. And I would go out to Nathan Phillips Square. Do you know Nathan Phillips Square in Toronto?
No.
They have a skating rink during the winter. It's right in front of the city hall. And I would go at nighttime because no one was there. And I would play from like 11 p.m. till about 2 or 3.
For how long before this final?
I had a couple weeks. And then I went on the ice, and I mean, like.
And you were good enough.
Well, I was going to go junior A, you know, like.
So you picked it up.
Oh, yeah. I was going to go play. My dad was getting calls from Kitchener Rangers and the Windsor Spitfires and a bunch of junior A teams. They had started to talk to us like when I was really young. I was a big boy, but I could skate. I mean, I've been skating my whole life.
But weren't you pumped that you were? I mean, ironically, I guess you're in your first movie. I guess your big movie is like Mystery Alaska, a hockey movie.
Well, I mean, hockey was my dream, and then after that crumpled. I really had this thing deep inside of me that was like, God, I swear if I had a chance at this acting thing, like I think it's just, I'll do whatever the fuck it takes.
You loved it. You were passionate beyond.
Oh, whatever it takes.
Are you still like that?
Every single day. Every day. If you go to any set and you ask who's the happiest guy on the set, like I would gauge that most people would go, I don't know what drugs that guy's on, but he's happy.
And you probably don't do any drugs.
Not really. No, I mean I enjoy cannabis to some degree,
that's not really
if that's considered a drug. But
right.
but I don't drink.
But you're happy. You're high on life. You've kind of always been that guy.
I am pretty happy-go-lucky, but a lot of that happiness comes from a choice. So I work to achieve that level of happiness.
I mean, do you get depressed? Do you get anxiety? Do you get sad?
I'm medicated. I had severe anxiety, you know, and which would sometimes take me down the OCD road, and I would get pretty low. It was happening a lot once I had my first daughter, and I would have to spend so much time away from her, and all of this stuff just surfaced, and I'd be like in Puerto Rico, living on a hotel on the beach, and I couldn't leave my room, and like it got really bad. So like I figured out how to.
It was crippling.
100%. I mean, between action and cut, no one ever knew. The only person who knew was my wife. And then I realized that at some point I was like, I am putting way too much on her shoulders. And Yeah, I got some help. But along with that help, I like I start my days, get the girls ready for school, take them to school, and then I get right into my cold plunge, have a 400% dopamine push. I do my breath work, and then I train my ass off. There's a lot of things that I do to get myself to that place where I
Right.
can just be present and my true self is,
Wow.
but I have to do the work.
But a lot of people will, and now it's like they don't look down, on therapy as much. I always talk about therapy and how important it is, and some people need medication. So like I do,
Yeah.
and that's listen. My whole life I was crippled with anxiety and riddled with anxiety, and I didn't realize all these things that I had, but they were around since I was young, and I thought it was normal, and it became this thing. And I go, I can't live like this. I can't be anxious about everything. I can't be stressed about everything. It was a cyclical. It kept going, and it wasn't until like probably 2 years ago, because again, like you said, nobody knew really a lot about my anxiety except a few people.
Because you're a great actor.
Before this podcast,
what it is.
I didn't talk about it, and then I started opening up. And look, drugs work differently for everybody. So Lexapro works for me, and I'm not telling you to get on Lexapro because it could be horrible for you because other drugs don't
I did
work.
it didn't work as well for me.
Right, but you do something else.
Paxil.
So you're
Yeah.
right, and Paxil didn't work for me.
That's what I'm saying. We're just so everybody's just so as much as we are the same. The chemical processes in the brain are vary so much from human to human. It's gotten me to be quite obsessive. I've become like a bit of a neurology hobbyist partially because I started to I wrote a script about this aging hockey player who's just on this incredibly slippery slope and just cannot get it together. And he has to figure out how to get it together for his daughter because he's only allowed to see her through a mediator.
Is that a film?
Yeah, I wrote it. I'm directing it next year.
That's amazing.
I wrote it for this actor named Kevin Durand. Not the basketball player.
Oh, wait a minute. You.
Not the basketball player, but he kind of looks like Elon Musk. So everyone's
I never
really
even
fucking
thought that.
confused.
No, you're much
Everyone's
better.
so confused.
No. Inside of You is brought to you by Helix. Guys, I've had 10 surgeries, okay? I don't have a great back or a neck, and I need a mattress that suits my needs. And guess what? Yes, you found it. It's called Helix. Helix is so comfortable. I am so happy with the Helix mattress, and so many people across the country have been using the Helix mattress, for improved sleep, everyday life. It's pretty fantastic. Whether you snore, back pain, sleep apnea, a good mattress can make a world of difference because let's be honest, most of your time is sleeping, right, Ryan?
It's true.
So if you're not having a good sleep, if you're not on a good mattress, you're wasting your life. I mean, you're pretty much wasting your life. I'll be honest. When they first were offering a Helix bed to me to test it out, I thought, I never really, I don't know. There's a lot of beds out there. There's a lot of mattresses. People are always changing mattresses saying, oh, this is the best. This is the best. All these new ones coming out. I can't say the names, and then I thought, I couldn't believe when I actually slept in a Helix bed, used a Helix mattress, that it would actually be something I needed. That was perfect for me. The firmness. I slept through the night. You're going to try a lot of mattresses out there, and Helix has been around now for years. And there's so many people that have used Helix mattresses, and it's changed their life in so many ways. So talking from someone who has had all the surgeries and can never get comfortable, I really do love Helix.
Go to helixsleep.com/inside for 27% off site-wide plus 2 free dream pillows with a mattress purchase.
That's Helix Sleep, HELIX, helixsleep.com/inside for 27% off site-wide plus 2 free dream pillows with the mattress purchase. helixsleep.com/inside. Well, if you need a buddy who plays hockey,
dude,
let me know. We're
You
about
big
the
hockey
same
player?
age. Dude, I play every Monday night for my whole life. I play.
I love that.
No, I'm not like I'm like a decent player.
Awesome.
No, I could top corner from the center ice slap shot.
I love it.
I'm in.
Well, that's hardcore.
Yeah, if you need somebody.
I honestly, I'm pretty. I have to get back on my skates again. I was, I went up to 295 pounds.
How much you weigh now?
I'm about 255, 260, but
you're 6'6".
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I went to 295 because I was going to play Hulk Hogan in this fucking.
Oh, you'd be perfect.
It was a great script. I was so excited. Great cast.
What happened?
The director, Seth Gordon, pulled out to do something else, which was a real bummer because I had spent 11 months putting the weight on and figuring out all the
great as Hulk Hogan.
It was, I had it down. I spent every morning in my gym with these Hulk Hogan documentaries on. One of them I almost have completely memorized, and idiosyncratically, the timbre of the voice, everything I had.
Give me a little Hulk.
Oh gosh, it's been a while. It was less Hulk Hogan. It was more like Terry Bollea. Yeah, I figured this thing out, and I had studied his spine because his spine was so severely damaged. He had gone through 17 back surgeries. And when you look at the base of his spine, how it interacts with his hips, I don't know how he's walking. So if you really look at him, he's completely crooked.
Tilted, yeah.
Like such an amazing character. I was so excited. And they pulled out. And
did you get paid at all for anything?
You know how
Training?
excited we get when something looks so good that it's like, okay, yeah, don't worry, we'll deal with the money later.
Yeah, I'm just going to get ready for this part.
There's nothing I wanted more than to play Terry. And I know that Hemsworth was going to do this big biopic. This was about a specific moment in time. It was called Killing Gawker. It's a great script. It's still out there. I don't know what's happening with it.
Well, did Seth or anybody call you up and say, hey?
Yeah, he had developed a project for Netflix that he probably made $1 gazillion for. I don't blame him for it.
And did you audition for it?
I met with them, and apparently a lot of like A-listers really wanted to play him. And then when I walked in, I went in kind of going, okay, let's talk about the psychological ramifications of what he's fucking going through right now, because this is right when the sex tape, it's the whole sex tape thing about Gawker, taking down Gawker.com with Peter Thiel, and Matt Bomer was going to play Peter Thiel, and it was phenomenal.
Dude, I'm so bummed. Like, I'm listening to this right now, and I'm like, I think I'm more bummed than you.
I'm heartbroken.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Maybe it'll come back around.
Maybe it'll come back. I mean, it's like older Hogan, so I'm still a tiny bit younger than he was when this happened. Hulk Hogan. But my whole point to telling you that story was that I was at 290 and I was like, okay, I better start thinking about the hockey player, which is the name of my script. So I went out onto the ice, and my skates were like a hot knife through butter. It was like so heavy that like I was catching edges, and I was like, ooh, this might be dangerous. And then I went down pretty hard on a give and go. Guy gave it back to me. You know, I lined it up, put it top corner, but I was like, what was that pop? And it was my meniscus. And
that was it.
I had to rehab now it's stronger than it's ever been, but it's like I'm okay for the hockey player, but Terry Bollea's gone right now.
Well, you gain 45 pounds for a roll. It doesn't happen. You get back on the ice to work on this other project and you hurt yourself because you had gained so much weight for this other part that didn't happen. What the fuck?
It's just not cool, right?
No. Let's get into other stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
first of all, you say how much you love acting. Like you just like you live it. I could see it. And you never lost that. You still love being on set. You don't mind the 12, 14 hours. You're in it to win it.
I love it with every cell in my body. But I think a lot of the prep for that is understanding that if I wasn't doing this for a living, I wasn't a great student.
You're looking at the mirror here.
Right? Like, I mean, I did not like school.
Yeah.
And my father is like 11th generation lumberjack. Like I would have ended up working with my hands, which would have been really detrimental to anyone who worked with me because I'm really not, like, I'm very untalented when it comes to like building things. My father just has this innate, he's part of that generation where it's like, looks at something, he's like, okay, I could build that. He could look at my truck and go, okay, I could build that. Like he's just, I have none of that.
I could change my oil in the car.
Dude, I can't do that.
I could change a tire. I could put chains on. I could do stuff like that, but I can't build.
You don't have to brag, Michael.
Well, but nobody needs you to do these things anymore with all these electric cars around.
I know, but that's how I felt. So I was like, I know that in a very thin slice of life that I would be welding pickets in like 50 below in Thunder Bay, and you know, I think I would still be happy to some degree because I would find joy in other things, but I get to live my dream.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And even when I look at hockey now in retrospect, I'm like, had I made it, how long would I have made it for? And how much life after that would I have had trying to figure out, well, what the hell do I do now? Whereas with this job, I'm trying to figure out how to live as long as I possibly can so I could be there for my daughters and my wife, but also so I could keep aging into these characters. I love it. I love it.
I love that. You know, it's funny because you say you've always dreamt of this. This is like something you. It's weird for me when I hear that. I always think of myself.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, you know, did I always dream this, or did I fall into it because it was the only thing that kind of people accepted me for, and I was able to be good at and made money. And now, do I still look at it as a dream? I look at it as maybe it was a great dream that I've lived, and I still want to dabble in it, but I don't have the passion I did. I love being on set. I love talking with the crew and becoming, you know, I'm always best friends with the crew. I always love trying stuff. I'm always going to give you different stuff. But I think unless it's something I'm absolutely passionate about, if it just doesn't, I don't want to be on set for 12 or 14 hours for something I don't believe in. I don't think this is going to be a success. I don't think this will be a success, but I don't believe in the material, and I would never watch this. Yeah. I'm trying to and I'm lucky, but dream. I'm still trying to think, is this what I'm destined to do? Because I have ADD massively, and I do so many different things, whether I'm good at them or bad at them. I want to try things.
Yeah.
And if I can make money at them, great. And if I can't, fine.
Yeah.
But I'm in that stage where, look, if Spielberg fucking sent me a letter and said, I want you, I wouldn't hesitate. But most things don't appeal to me now as much as they used to.
There's great power in that.
Maybe.
I think there's
agent thinks there's not. He's like, you're gonna become irrelevant. Well, you're gonna become irrelevant. I go, I'm not. Well, I always have the chops. I'll be there.
Your agent wants to make money, so it's like, you know, like that's how I, you know,
it's true.
Agents are great. I mean, I've had 1,700 of them since I've moved to LA. It's like it's like no disrespect to agents, you know, grateful, but you have to follow your heart, and if you're being drawn to all these different things, it's how awesome is that? You know, I mean, for me, it's like the only addition to the acting that has occurred is because I'm trying to create roles for myself that no one's giving me a shot at because they see
a size, they see a size, they see a power, they see a, and you have so much more to offer.
I certainly think so. And as I age, as I've been stepping into that realm of like writing stories, better roles have been coming. But at the same time, like I only want to do those things so that I could act more.
Right. Yeah.
That's all I want to do.
What is it? I know we're gonna change gears here, but how do you audition for Proxima Caesar? How do you audition for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, a huge franchise, one of the biggest? How does that happen?
My manager, at the time I was part of that ICM takeover by CAA.
Yeah, I was there too.
Okay. They're like, oh, we want to keep you. And then they never called me.
Never.
I'm calling them out right now.
Never. Same thing happened with me. They didn't care. They didn't believe in me.
My manager, who does believe in me, thank God, both of them, got me the audition for Apes. And she sent it to me, and I was like,
was it a lot of lines?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Proximus is incredibly verbose.
Speeches,
probably the most verbose ape in this world to this point.
And you memorized all of it?
Yep, I did. I just wanted to. I didn't even want to get into the simian aspect of it because I understood that was going to be a whole other can of worms. So I just played the scene.
With a voice, the voice that you used?
I was doing more of like a kind of a mid-Atlantic accent, and just gave it power and humor.
Physicality?
I was sitting the whole time. But once I got the scene to a point where I watched it, I was like, that's compelling. That's good. Then I knew that I had this ace up my sleeve, which was I've been obsessed with apes since I was a child. And so, at 6'6",
that's how you started acting. You watched Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
I saw that story.
Yeah.
About your mom. You're like, how is that? There's people inside there.
Exactly.
And you're like, what? And you're like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
But so go ahead.
So my ace up my sleeve was that I set up a camera at the end of this long hallway in my house, and there were no lights. And so you couldn't really see the end of the hallway. So I made my wife press record, and then I just told her to leave it for a bit. So about 5-6 seconds go by. And then out of nowhere, I fucking do this crazy ape run up to the camera, right? And I pop up and kind of like what I envisioned apedom was like.
I can see it.
Did the thing. And I was flexing. I was like, I still had.
Did you have a shirt on?
I had a shirt on, but I had the Hulk Hogan weight on. So like I was like about 285. Like then I was just dropping, and I just slayed it. And then they called pretty quick after, and I'm so lucky.
You got the part. You didn't have to go in again.
No, I met. I took a meeting, and the meeting was. It was more like it felt. As the meeting was going, because you never know what you're going to get from a meeting, like you're kind of like trying to sell yourself, but it almost felt like they were trying to sell me on the world, and I was like, "Holy shit! Like you guys don't realize, like I really want to do this. Like let's like if you want, let's go." You know what I mean? So that's kind of how it came down, and then. And then I just started working more on my flexibility and stuff. And then when I got there, we did like 5 weeks of ape school and
5 weeks. And I bet it's like, I bet you were sore doing all these moves, and your posture's different and everything's.
It was very natural for me.
Really?
I wasn't sore. Being a hockey player, you're always in that crouch. right?
Yeah, just
You're
kinda-
always in that crouch your whole life. So you're
Wow.
used to being in that crouch. And then I've been spending tons of time stretching for years and years. So like my body liked it. Like I almost liked it better.
Yeah. Did they ask you to like find your voice, find the gruff, find the how did you find that like, you know, that whole thing?
I didn't know that was going to be it. We had gotten about 4 weeks into ape school, and it was just me and this fella by the name of Alain Gauthier, who was like one of the founders of Cirque du Soleil, and he left Cirque to come and work with us. And he started asking me questions because I started feeling like I was finding the body, and through all, it's neat because they did the same anatomical work as I had been doing for Hulk Hogan. So I was like, oh, this is really neat that you guys are doing this, because I was just doing this for this. And
Right.
I had never done that to that level before. And he just asked me a question, and I just went, I feel very good. And he was like, what? He was like, what a wonderful day. And he was just like, do that again. Can you stay in that? I was like, I could talk like this all day. It just became this thing. And I showed it to Wes, who's an amazing world builder. And he sat with me and he was like, I love this. He's like, now I want you to think more about the anatomy. And so I went and studied the anatomy of like the throat, the trachea, the sound box and everything, and tried to figure out. And I was like, man, getting human sounds out of that seems like that would be really hard. So I wanted to work for it. So I had to be off of it was
Diaphragm.
I am very hungry. Right. And so it was like, and
came from the gut.
Yeah.
Came from like the wow.
Came from the gut. So supported. So people are like, oh, that probably hurt your voice. It didn't never hurt my voice because it was supported.
Right. Inside of You is brought to you by Lumen. Guys, are you ready to jumpstart your wellness in 2025? Lumen can help. Did you know that studies show that 80% of resolutions fail by February? That's sad. You can beat the odds with Lumen and improve your wellness. Listen to this. I have found a valuable tool that gives me insights to create an ideal metabolism for my body. And it is managed to help improve other aspects of my life as well. And it's called Lumen. Lumen is the world's first metabolic coach. It's a device that helps measure your metabolism through your breath. That's right. And on the app, it will tell you if it sees if you're burning fat or carbs. It gives you a tailored guidance to help improve your nutrition, workout, sleep, and even stress management.
All you have to do is breathe into your Lumen first thing in the morning, and Lumen can tell you what's going on with your metabolism, whether you're burning mostly fats or carbs.
Then Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan for that day based on your measurements. It's so easy. Everything pops up right there on your phone. It's such a great device. You can also breathe into it before and after workouts and meals, so Lumen can tell you exactly what's going on in your body in real time. And Lumen will give you tips to keep you on top of your wellness game.
Your metabolism is your body's engine. It's how your body turns the food you eat into fuel that keeps you going.
Because your metabolism is at the center of everything your body does, optimal metabolic wellness translates to a bunch of benefits, including easier weight management, improved energy levels, better fitness results, better sleep.
Lumen gives you recommendations to help improve your metabolic wellness.
It can also track your cycle as well as the onset of menopause and adjust your recommendations to keep your metabolism in good shape through hormonal shifts, so you can keep up your energy and stave off those cravings. Take the next step to helping improve your health. Go to lumen.me/inside to get 20% off your Lumen. That is lumen.me, lumen.me/inside for 20% off your purchase. Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring this episode. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition.
The title of the book, The Talented Farter.
Yes.
That's been a theme.
Never.
This is a wonderful story about a little boy whose only gift, his only real talent is tooting. He can make his toot sound like everything you hear in everyday life. So Little Michael loved Halloween, but nothing frightened his friends more than when Michael would stink up a good scare. Can you hear that?
Oh, I heard it.
It is a lovely story, and it's beautifully illustrated by my friend Heath, and Simon & Schuster's putting it out. It's going to be in tons of bookstores and available on Amazon. I'm so proud of it.
And when you first saw this, because you're the whole trailer of the movie. I mean, it's like, it's that whole.
Wasn't expecting that, man.
What a wonderful day.
Yeah.
It's like when you first saw yourself on screen as this ape, as Proximus, did you get goosebumps?
Wes brought me in to do some. I didn't know anything about the trailer or anything, so when he brought me in to do ADR, he goes, I gotta go make a phone call, but I'm gonna play you a little bit. And I stood there, and it wasn't until the end of it, like my body was shaking and I had tears come down, because finally, my biggest thing that I always loved was getting away from me and being something new. And this was the greatest immersive experience I had ever had. So
have your kids seen it?
Yeah. I don't think I would have taken them, but my wife took them while I was away to impress. And because my 8-year-old she's a real little artist, storyteller, and she flipped out at the end. Like she was beyond unhappy. She was so distressed.
Oh, what happened to you?
Because she wasn't seeing Proximus. She was seeing me, because she sees me walking around the house like that all the time and speaking in that voice, and I play with them like that. And so, even though there was that great work that Weta added on, she didn't do so well with that.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe when she's older.
To do a part like that is just, because you've done so much. I remember the first time I saw you was in Lost. And I just remember, who's this guy? Actually, Smoking Aces, I think, because you played a neo-Nazi in that, right?
Yeah.
I remember seeing that. I go, God, this guy's got so much presence. Then I saw you in Lost. I was like, oh, that guy. Yeah. And then it's like, and you wonder sometimes, it's like, I thought you were a lot like me in a sense that people will go, I think I've seen that guy.
Yeah.
Like, but you have so much more. You have a distinct look that you probably get noticed a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, more now.
Where do they notice you from? The strain.
It's kind of all over the map now, which is really cool.
Yeah,
it's nice. Like I'm.
Dark Angel, everything. Abigail.
Yeah. You know what I first saw you in?
What?
Pool Hall Junkies.
I'm surprised you weren't in that role.
Dude, I saw that movie and I was like,
because it kind of resembled Mars a little bit back then.
I was like, look at these guys. Like, I was just so impressed with you guys. Like, because Walk-In is like a god, right? And by the way, your story, the Flash story.
People use that story now.
I use that story. I seriously I say that it's from you.
And I think he's done that with someone else, because someone else they said that was their story, and I'm like, no, what are you talking about?
I didn't say it was my story.
No, you could do that though.
I said it was no,
but other actors have said said like it happened to them.
Such a good story.
Like, what?
The way you tell it, it's so good. So like I I've used that a bunch of times, because I have a bunch of walk-in stories that I've heard through the grapevine, and it's just like,
call me Flash.
Oh,
yeah, call me. Yeah. Anyway, but that movie Pool Hall Junkies, which I like, and a lot of people like that movie.
I like that movie.
My co-star from Smallville, Welling, loves that movie.
Yeah,
but I got a call the night before at about 5:00 in the evening, and it was my agent saying, "Hey, the director for this movie wants to call you." And I go, "What movie?" Like, they're shooting a movie in Utah. It's called Pool Hall Junkies. Blah blah blah. And I go, okay. And so the director calls me, Mars calls me, goes, "Hey man, I like your work, and I'm just wondering if you'd be interested in doing this movie, playing my brother in this pool movie." And I go, "Yeah, I would totally be interested, man." He goes, "Well, here's the deal. Your scene shoots first up tomorrow." in Utah. And I go, my heart starts pounding. I go, what? I can't, I haven't read the script. And he's like,
God.
listen, man, it's Chaz Palminteri, Christopher Walken, Rod Steiger. I go, I'm in. And they just messengered me a script. And I tried to learn the lines that night.
Back when you had paper scripts?
Paper scripts.
I love
and
paper
I flew out
scripts.
first thing in the morning. And I went right to set on the
Amazing.
first flight. And they pushed everything. And they shot some exterior and stuff before I showed up. And I walked in going, oh, you're my brother. Okay, here we go. We're going to shoot a scene together. And I remember even when I watched that scene, I go, oh my God, you're so nervous in that scene.
That's okay.
And I notice it. Yeah. But like, it was a great time in my life. But like,
that's rock star stuff. That's the cool stuff that, you look back on and you're like, wow, I did that. That's the,
yeah. You know what I mean? I almost let fear get in the way and was like, I can't do this like tomorrow. I mean, can you wait a day or two? And I was like, no, dude, we're, shoestring budget. We have no money. All the money went to Walken for his 3 days of work, where he does the lion speech. And, they have this thing on lions on the Discovery Channel. The lion, he sits there. The hyenas start gnawing at him. The lioness, she's all over him. The cubs. And he just lets it go. But one day, he gets up and he tears through everything. Runs like the wind. Because sometimes you have to show the world you're a lion. He says something like that. It's some speech like that.
So good, man.
But well, look,
So
I mean,
good.
you've done so many things. Do you go to cons and get do you do autograph signings? You'd do huge.
I just did my first 2.
Where?
I did
Fan Expo.
No, I did Texas Horror Hound.
Yeah, I heard of that.
And then I did Mountain View Terror?
Mountain Valley
Terror?
I don't know.
My God, I'm so sorry, guys.
It doesn't matter. It's like you forget. But how was the response and how did you like it?
I actually really loved it. Like I didn't expect to love it the way that I did, and they had been asking me for a while,
right?
And I just thought, oh, I don't know, I'm back when I was younger, I was like, I'm just a craftsman, and I just fuck off. Like it was the best thing ever. It was the best. I'm gonna go do some more. Yeah.
I mean, you have pictures on your table. You must have 10 different movies or projects you've been in.
You know what? My agent has about, I think 15 or 20 different ones. But then the first 2 times we did it, he has a list of people going, well, why don't you have this guy? Why don't you have this guy? And then he adds them. And then, but
because people ask, what about that?
Yeah,
you have a picture for that.
Yeah. Because people have generally for years and years, they would connect me to one character from one movie that meant something to them. And then they're always like, have you worked since? And I'm like, well, yeah, no, I have. I've been really lucky, but they think, and that's fine.
Yeah.
They connected to that guy.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. So it's kind of fun for me to hear all the stories. I had a couple of experiences with people, like this one woman, she came out with her family. They drove 5 hours. They come and meet me, and she never leaves the house because of her anxiety.
You can relate.
And we had this chat, and tears were shed, and hugs, and
isn't that something? Those moments are just beautiful moments. It's connection.
Yeah.
With real people who, for some reason, are drawn to you or admire your work or connected with them.
Yeah.
And the fact that you connect with them, it's like you get something from each other.
I am so grateful for that new aspect to my life, and being able to just go and talk to people and hear what they have to say, and if I could take a picture of someone and it makes their day, it makes their week, then wow, that's that's amazing.
That's it's just rare. It's like how many people get to do that? How many people get to make an impact on someone's life? And you don't have to do much.
You don't have to do much.
It's not like you're asked for. All you have to do is talk to them.
Yeah.
Have a moment with them.
Yeah.
Where are you from? What are you doing? Why did you connect with this? Thanks for being here. It's not like, and it's funny because these cons, before I started doing cons, I was like, what is this? But I was going to cons. Like I go to horror movie cons.
Oh,
and
that's
with my
awesome.
friends before I was anybody. Monster Palooza is here in, I think, Burbank or Glendale. I go every year. I'm not invited.
Yeah.
I just go.
Yeah.
I go as a guest.
Oh, that's so
and
awesome.
I bring my friends.
That's
and
so
I'm
awesome.
just like, yeah, that's
awesome.
I just
awesome.
I love that. I love that thing. Where do you see yourself? Like everybody has a vision of where they want to see themselves go and be. Like, what's your vision of, like, if your dreams came true and you're like, they already came true because you're already doing it. What do you see yourself? What movie? What actors do you want to work with? What project? What kind of character would you like to play? Besides the one that you're writing, obviously. Maybe that's the one.
I try to be as patient with myself as I can be and just kind of go increment for increment, because before I used to set the bar was just so high with like some of my friends, like my mentors, that I was like, okay, well, he did this by this time, what am I doing? And then when you put yourself on other people's schedules, there's nothing more detrimental that you could do to yourself, because we're all on our own time.
Yeah.
My dream has always been to take it as far as I possibly can. I want to be able to carry much more weight within narratives. I'm cool with not being the lead all the time. That's not what I mean. I just want the opportunity to continue to flesh out great characters and great stories, the greatest stories that I could possibly tell, the greatest characters that I could possibly play, and hopefully with the greatest people possible. The goal is, I was telling people when I was, 17, waiting tables and bouncing at Perkins in Thunder Bay. I was the night shift guy, and I would wait tables, and then if someone ran out without paying, I'd hear Jimmy Chronopoulos, God rest his soul, the manager, owner, he'd be like, Kevin! And then I would run to the front, and he'd be like, this table just ran out, blah, blah. And I would go and, like, I did whatever I could to get enough money so that I could go to theater school. And then I realized theater school was a big whack of crap for me. It didn't do anything for me. So
Right.
I just hit the ground running. My goal was always to go after the golden conch. I used to tell people, I won't tell you what I was telling people, but people thought I was nuts.
Yeah.
And now when people see me, they're like, man, you're actually going to get there. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get there. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. That's where I've said it since I was 17. I know that's where I'm going.
Inside of You is brought to you by Shopify. Shopify, I have been with them for so long. They've been a sponsor. If you are starting a business, and a lot of people are putting off these ideas. A lot of people have ideas and they don't know how to get started. Shopify is so easy to use and navigate, whether you have a big business or small business. If you're just starting out, please listen and do it. This is 2025, Ryan. It is time to just do it. Be your own boss. Mm-hmm. Turn this business idea you've been kicking around into a reality. And you're probably thinking, well, how do I make that happen? Shopify is how you're going to make it happen. And let me tell you how. The best time to start your new business is right now. Shopify makes it simple to create your brand, open for business, and get your first sale.
Get your store up and running easily with thousands of customizable templates. No coding or design skills required. All you need to do is drag and drop.
Yeah, and if you have products that you're selling, it's so easy, like I said, to navigate. You just upload a picture of the product. You put like how much it weighs. I bought this little scale. It's like $5. And a description and how much you want to sell it for. And it will show you the analytics on Shopify. This is your best product. This sells the most. Don't sell this one anymore because no one's buying it. Stuff like that.
Their powerful social media tools let you connect all your channels and create shoppable posts and help you sell everywhere people scroll.
Shopify makes it easy to manage your growing business. Listen to this. They help with the details, like shipping, taxes, payments from one single dashboard, allowing you to focus on the important stuff like growing your business.
What happens if you don't act now? Will you regret it? What if someone beats you to the idea? Don't kick yourself when you hear this again in a year because you didn't do anything now.
Yes, thank you, Ryan. Established in 2025. That has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/inside, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/inside to start selling with Shopify today. Shopify.com/inside. Hey folks, it's me, Michael Rosenbaum. Listen, if you're a supporter of the podcast, if you're enjoying these interviews, we ask you if you can join Patreon, patreon.com/inside of you, and help the podcast. It's a great way to build a community and friends, and there's a lot of benefits. There's different tiers. There's one where I give you packages every couple of months, a bunch of gifts, and write a note. You get your name shouted out on the podcast, and much, much more. But most importantly, you'll be helping the podcast. So if you want to become a member of Patreon and support this podcast, that would be awesome. So just go to Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/inside of you. And I really appreciate you. Thanks. It's so funny you say that. Yeah. I remember this girl, Alexis Combs. I was good friends with her, and her dad was like one of the heads of the theater department in college. And he was a mentor to me. He was awesome. Wit. But we were sitting on the stairs right outside this building where she lived, this apartment. And we're just sitting there and having a drink or whatever. And I was going to New York, to be an actor, to pursue it. And she goes, aren't you nervous? Aren't you like, and I remember saying this to her. I remember going, Alexis, please remember this. I am going to make it. There's no doubt about it. Do not ever worry about me. Like, I already know I'm going to make it. I'm aware. I was so hyper aware and confident, and I saw it, and it was tangible. Yeah. And I didn't look at odds. And I wish I had that same guy's mentality now, because that was just like, what do you call it? False bravado, but it wasn't. It was like I knew.
It was energy.
And I told her, I go, don't forget this moment, because I'm telling you, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I wasn't bullshitting her at all.
Yeah.
And I believe if you don't have that feeling inside you, don't get into it. Don't do it. If you're thinking, I don't know, I'll give it a year. Yeah. There was no doubt in my mind. I think that's what a lot of professions. If you're gonna do something, you got to believe you're going to do it.
Oh, hell
and
yeah.
Believe and want and dream and all those things. And I was lucky enough to have that as a kid. And I think my, what got me there was, a lot of stuff as a child, like not getting certain things, no one believed in me. No one thought I'd amount to much. And it was about proving yourself and showing the world. Yeah. And I think I needed that.
Yeah.
As horrible as it may sound, and like, sob story, like all that stuff just builds you.
If you feel like you've lost that a bit, it's probably because you're too smart, because your brain,
don't ever call me
over the years. No, I can tell you're a very intelligent person. I have a certain level of ignorance. Like it's really my bliss. And if I have a dream, nothing can stop it. And it might take me a lifetime, but I'm gonna get that. There's no question. There's also no rush. So everything,
I don't know. Some people are like, come on.
I know, but at the same time, you gotta understand, like, you can't let it. I've been in that place where it drives me so insane that I can't see anything else.
Yeah.
And when I was in that place, my joy for life suffered so profoundly that I needed to learn how to trust in the long game. And, like every day, and when I do my breath work and my meditations, I start with like in my breath holds, I go into this space where I first think of all the things that I'm grateful for. Everything.
Always. I love that.
It just feeds me so much. And then I go into all the things that I'm grateful for that are going to happen. And it's not a question as to how am I going to make it happen? It doesn't matter. It's going to happen. And so my whole, like, I've been doing that for quite a while, and like everything ends up coming to fruition. It's just not being too definitive about how
it's going to happen.
I'm going to get there and when, but every day I'm getting there. And every day that I get to live and breathe as a human being, and now as a father, and as a husband and neighbor, and you know, just a fellow citizen of the planet Earth.
Yeah,
I'm getting better. We're all getting better if you just allow.
Yeah, and if you want, if you want to get better,
yes,
if you want to be a better person,
yes.
A lot of it's choice, you know.
And I believe that with that attitude, it's allowed me to navigate through all of, like you said, like the odds, the numbers, and all that stuff. It's like I don't allow myself to think of all the things that make my vision impossible, because there's just too many of them. I rather focus on the things that make it possible.
I agree. And you know, there's some things that are in my mind that I don't talk about, that I'm like, when you say no rush, it's like when I'm ready in my head, I'm like, there's certain things I'm like, you don't need to rush. You need to fix or work on certain things for that to be an option.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Without telling you what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like I have to, like, hey, it's okay to take care of whatever it is and do whatever it takes, and then to get there. But I always see it. I always see, okay, I'd like to be there. I'd like to, you know, not have this, you know, back problem, or not this, but let's work on that, and let's get as healthy as we can.
Yeah.
And let's really, and then all those things will happen.
Yeah.
The way you want them to. Yeah. So, but patience is important too. Patience is, it is, because you want it now. You want it here. You want to, you know, it's like, I don't know. It's just, it's important to sort of be present. Like you said, be present, and sort of like, hey, I'm talking to you right now. Ryan's right there. He's there. He's always there.
Oh, he is there? What the hell?
Ryan!
Where did you come from?
This is great. If you have to think of your time on The Strain, you did 43 episodes. That looks like it was a lot of work, long nights, tons of nights, exhaustion. Was it hard?
We couldn't keep crews. In Toronto, The Strain was known as The Strain. Like, it was a strain. Like, a lot of crew members didn't want to work on The Strain
because of the nights. Yeah,
we had a lot of Fratter days, right? And for me personally, it's a fucking ball. But basically,
but it was a shit show for producers. It wasn't easy.
They did an amazing job. I don't know how they did it. I mean, Miles Dale, who was our producer on there, like he would be able to tell me at the start of the season, he was like, "You're going to be going home on this date in 5 months," and I'd be like, "Yeah, right." And every year he made it happen.
Wow, that's rare.
He was amazing. You know, now he has an Oscar on his shelf for the stuff, you know, that he's done with Guillermo since then. And like, he's one of those guys, like, this is what's going to happen. And he makes it happen.
I love that.
And like, it's so cool to get to work with people like that. Him and Carlton and Guillermo, and like, you know, they were just such dreamers that
made their dreams come true and
absolutely
believed it and do it. Yeah. What was it like? Is Vasily? Vasily. How do you,
Vasily.
Yeah. Vasily, how was it like playing Fate like that?
Well, you know, playing Fate was like, it was very interesting for me to get to play this guy, you know, because it's the first time that
love it.
Guillermo said we did like chemistry reads. Corey Stoll and I did chemistry reads with 6 actresses for who was going to be the love interest, because the love interest would fluctuate between both of us. And Guillermo kept saying, "Hey, Vasily doesn't show his emotions. He doesn't smile." And I was like, "I think you're wrong." He's like, "I wrote the book." And I was like, I understand that. Just give me a little bit. Just watch. Just tell me how you feel at the end of the day. Because we're just doing chemistry reads. So let's just see it. And I argued with him that, he's got all these journals throughout all the books where he's talking about how like he's coming into fruition.
Right.
And he's like, the world's falling apart all around him, but his purpose has risen to a place where he's become one of the most important people. He's the guy you want to be with during a vampocalypse, right? So I played that because you're not going to show on a show with this guy going through his journal, dear blah blah blah.
Right.
So
not that all that subtext or whatever.
Yeah. So I got to play.
So what did he say? After the day went,
he said he said you're right. He was like, that's what
really.
He said that's what it needs to be, and that's what he ended up becoming.
You fought for what you believed.
Well, it just that's just how I
perceived it.
And I took a meeting with him in Carlton about 8 months before, and he was offering it to me. And at the time, I was doing The Captive for Adam McGoyan, and I was down to like about 195 pounds, which for me is like, I was like skin and bones, and I had this weird stash, and I was going into a really bad place. And he was like, "You're going to be able to put on weight, right?" I was like, "Oh, give me a couple of weeks. It doesn't take me long." It was like, he goes, "So you want to do it?" And I go, "Well, I'd love to read the other books." He was like, "Kevin, how often do you get to save the world and get the ass?"
And get the ass?
That's what he said.
And get the ass. In an accent?
In his accent, but I'm not going to even try. It was just, it was really magic for me.
I love that.
Because I've never gotten to play the hero, the heroic. No, people don't see me as
what
that
a treat.
often.
Well, they should. They will. All right, this is called Shit Talking with Kevin Durand, or how do you say it in French? Durand.
I thought you meant on jase. On jase avec Kevin Durand.
Huh, there you go. Inside patreon.com/inside-you. Become a patron and support the podcast. All right, these are the rapid fire. So you gotta be boom.
Shoot.
Sarah G, I saw Abigail twice in theaters. Loved it. What was it about production that drew you to it, and how much fun did you have on set? What was the most challenging role to date? And what was the most challenging role to date?
Radio Silence. I was a fan of theirs. So Ready or Not, their storytelling was just so great within that genre. And then the script was fantastic. Most challenging role to date, and my favorite role to date, Proxima Caesar, hands down. I challenge any filmmaker to give me something better.
There you go.
Bring it on.
By the way, in Abigail, did you audition for that too?
I did.
Was it tough?
It was tough in the sense that it was a lot. It's not like he had speeches or anything. So those auditions where it's like, oh, I'm just kind of coming in, and so then figuring him out was a different process,
right?
But then once we got together in Ireland, and we shot in the Guinness mansion, where the Guinness family it was their vacation mansion, and Mr. Guinness, Sir Guinness, had a secret hallway that connected another mansion, and that's where he kept his mistress.
Jesus.
It was the craziest, coolest house. So yeah. Anyway,
Raj, tell me about the most recent time you felt scared.
It would have been anxiety based. It was the last time I really felt scared.
Yeah, it always is.
It was like I would go into these points of time where it would be months where I was like, I'm gonna die. Like it would be so. There would be points where it's like I have like a minute, and it was like that for 3 months.
I know that feeling. Just Desperation.
Anybody's feeling that, please go and get help. Don't feel embarrassed about it. It's totally normal. You'd be surprised at how many of us have it. So it's like, go get help.
Dev Nexon, what is the moment in your child's life you are glad you did not miss, for which you remember the most?
Oh my gosh,
The
birth of my first child. The doctor let me pull her out. And I pulled her out and I brought her up, and she kind of shook her head, and then she looked at me, and when she first opened her eyes, she was looking at me, and it's the greatest love, most profound thing I've ever felt. And in the meantime, I'm hearing, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then it was like, put her down, she's cold. And I was like, oh shit. Because I was so caught in this moment. Hear. No one could get her because I'm up here, looking at her. And,
put her down. All right, I never do this, but like, I there's so many things I could talk to you forever. You're so easy to talk to. I love this. It's really open and just really fun to know how you work, what your joy is, what your dreams are. Okay, so I'm gonna just ask you quick questions. What's it like what was it like working with David Cronenberg?
David was
intense.
There's a beautiful intensity. He knows exactly what he wants, but he casts exactly who he wants. So going to set, the most direction I got from him was this or this.
Turn it down,
turn it up, turn it down. And he did that once, and then he never had to give me direction again. We just understood each other. He was amazing.
Dark Angel. Overall, the experience. Was it a great experience?
It was the first time I had ever made money. Ever.
You're just happy to be there.
Like real money. Like I couldn't believe it. I love disappearing into Joshua, and there was this real connection. I always felt kind of like a beast of sorts. So I just got him. I missed him so much. I still mourn him.
Would you do a Dark Angel if they did like one show, one out? Or
hell yeah,
you would? Even if they did a limited series, Dark Angel?
I'd jump in as Joshua, sure.
You would?
Absolutely.
Lost. I mean, phenomenon. I watched every episode. I loved it. It's when I saw you and I was like, oh my God. What was your experience like that on that?
You know how you're talking about how you got the script the night before?
Yep.
Every day on Lost was like that.
That's terrible.
And it was
I don't like that.
They if you know the show, so the scene with Alex when I point blank, Ben Linus's daughter, I was in Sydney shooting Wolverine, and they gave me the script. Like I got the script like basically right before I got on the plane to Hawaii.
Were you stressed immediately?
Shooting. Oh my God. But at the same time, so exhilarated because I was like, oh shit, this is going to hit hard, And so there was this, it taught me how to just trust that it's all there. It's all going to be there. So just trust. Don't worry about little minute specific things.
Right.
You don't need to always get those. As long as the director gets what he wants, it's okay. And that's what it taught me.
Do you ever get starstruck? And who do you get starstruck over?
More hockey players than...
Who's your favorite hockey player of all time?
Mario Lemieux.
Me too.
Hands down.
Me 100%. If you wouldn't get Hodgkins, and if he wouldn't have had the back surgeries, I think he would have... Yeah. I think he's the best of all time.
Dude, when he came back from Hodgkins and still in the scoring race, nobody had... I mean, Gretzky was phenomenal. But to me...
Overall player. Hard-hitting, checking, tough, scoring...
He had to handle his own business. He didn't have a McSorley. It would be so nice if we could all have a McSorley following us around. But Gretzky's, don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, Gretzky's he's right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he's a great guy too.
But Mario's just...
This is when we lose people, when we get into hockey.
I know.
This is when we lose people.
Okay.
No, this is good. No, this is great. No, it's the end of the interview. So no. This has been fantastic. You're such an amazing guy and great actor. I mean, You always bring it. Every time I see you on screen, pop. You just pop.
Man.
And I wish you the most success. And thanks for opening up about your anxiety in your life. And I hope you'll come back because
I would love
it was
to.
so easy to talk to you. Usually I'm like, this is, it feels like it's longer. And this felt like it was very interesting and it had my attention the whole time.
I would love to come back, and we should work together too.
I would love that.
That'd
Like
be
your
fun.
hockey movie.
Just get to it.
I would love it. Thanks
to
for
it.
being here, Kev.
Thanks, brother.
Great dude.
Great dude.
Great dude. I love when great dudes or great women come on the podcast. Great people. Let's just say great people. Thanks, Kevin, for coming on, and good luck with everything, man. And again, if you want to join patreon.com/inside of you, and we're going to read out the top tiers. These are the folks that give back the most. If you want to join Patreon and be a top tier, do it for the love of God. We could use your help. And let's read the names of these lovable patrons. Shall we?
Let's do it.
All right.
Right.
Let's do like Nancy D and Little Lisa,
Right.
Kiko, Brian H, Nico P, Rob L, Jason W, Sophie M, Raj C, Jennifer N, Stacey L.
Jamal F. That was a hard one.
Yeah, that was fun.
Janelle B in it. Mike L. Don Supremo. 99 more. Santiago M. Maddie S. Kendrick F. Belinda N. Dave H.
Dave Hall. I like Dave Hall.
Brad D. Ray H. Tabitha T. Tom N. Talia M. Betsy D. Rhiannon C. Michelle A. Jeremy C. Eugenia Leah. Mel S. Eric H. Oracle. Amanda R. William K. Kevin E.
You really read a lot of them.
You sort of just catch
You
like a
just
wave.
went through it.
You catch a wave and then you just kind of.
Jor-El, Jam J, Leanne J, Luna R, Jules M, Jessica B, Kaylee J, Charlene A, Mary Louise L, Romeo the Band, Frank B, Jen T, April R, Randy S, Claudia, Rachel D, Nick W, Stephanie and Evan, known as
Stefan.
Charlene A, Don G, Jenny B, 76, Tina E, NG Tracy, Keith B, Heather and Greg or
Grether.
L.E.K., Ben B. Jammin, Pierre C. Sultan, Ingrid C., Christina S., Dave T., Dave L., Jill and Brett, or Brill, Jeff G., and Kareem H. Some newcomers here.
Ooh.
I see Jill and Brett and Jeff G. and Kareem H., David L., David T. You guys, thank you so much for supporting this podcast. It means the world to me, and you mean the world to me. And from the Hollywood Hills in Hollywood, California, I'm still here. Still around. It's Michael Rosenbaum.
I'm Ryan Tejas.
Yep. A little wave to the camera. We love you, and we'll see you next week. And as always, especially in the last few weeks, just be safe and be good to yourself.